It's $60 for the battery. The good news, the battery's lifetime warranty though, so it's a huge difference in comparison to any sort of loan. I mean, looking at these, this looks. I know why Texas is such a huge market for solar now, because I see like these margins that people are pulling and what you could charge and the difference. I mean, like you guys are high bills, but even if you come to a low bill, and the case in point though, Christina, is your house is covered by a giant tree. I mean, that tree just covers up the majority of the roof, that tree in the front. And so we're still pulling a 334, a 334 at that, and then still saving you $100 a month. So there's
So was mine with
Man.
just the panels on the back side of the house?
no, they're on the front side. Right on
Oh,
the,
okay.
so it's right on the front, right on the front and the west side. So the west side you got a decent side, but normally there's no a tree like that. A little, so you guys understand how PPA works. You're only paying for the energy the solar system produces. So let's just say a hypothetical that, in 10 years you lost, let's say you lost 10% of the efficiency. Well, you're only paying for the energy the solar system's generating. So that means the bill would reflect the 10% decrease in production. So you would drop that utility bill rather than still paying the same set rate based on that volume that you guys are doing. So um, that would be let me just check one other thing on here. So
Is that called degradation? What is
what's
that called?
what's that, Jay?
Whenever they lose power over years, is that called degradation? Is that the word for it?
No, this is just the PPA. I don't know that term. It's just a PPA.
Okay.
PPA. A lease is the same price all the time. Doesn't matter. They
Okay.
have guarantees and warranties. The other benefit with this particular lease is this 25-year bumper to bumper, parts, labor, equipment, everything's going to be covered under that umbrella. Parts, labor, and equipment would be covered under that, but also the battery, the big equation with the batteries aren't going to last 25 years. I don't even think they're going to last 7 years, let alone 25.
Okay.
So I think they're probably going to go out once it starts discharging prematurely at 20% or so. Then what happens is then at that point, then we're going to be in a position where we come out and replace the battery.
So the PPA term is going to be for 25 years.
Yep.
So you'll be at 300 plus your 2% escalator. So yeah, it's crazy.
Run that, see where. So it takes, Ryan, it would take you about 9 years till you got the utility bill to where that's currently at today. Takes you 9 years to get to that point. On yours, I don't know, the margins weren't nearly as good. I don't know why. East and west, I mean, you didn't have any south, but you didn't have a lot of shade factor on the roof either. When I looked at it, the margins weren't nearly as good. They weren't like Christina's, and she had a huge tree in front of her house. So we dropped.
I mean, I get a ton of sun on those slopes, so I think it would be pretty good.
Well, the way the software is designed is just to calculate the azimuth and the shade and a bunch of weather patterns and stuff in there. So that's how they calculate the production reports in there. So, but I mean, a strategy when you're knocking doors is to try and look for the houses that don't have a bunch of trees and south facing. When I'm here in Arizona, I go knock south facing roofs. Especially if I've got a limited amount of time, I'm not trying to just go and knock on houses that aren't going to have good margins. So the one I did yesterday, I specifically saw the roof, I saw the details. I went and knocked on them. I talked to him a little bit, came back and sold them. But those decent margins. But Arizona's a completely different market than Texas, dude. It's not even close to these margins that you guys are getting. The margins here are just insane. They're astronomical.
Awesome.
I mean, it looks good. I'm surprised. I looked on satellite view at Tyler. I'm like, dude, why don't more people have solar? This is insane.
Nobody has it.
Everybody out there should have solar, especially with the way things are structured today. So I think one of the reasons too, Christina, maybe something, if you're running these reports, have you ran a report with the Freedom? Did you run a report with them?
Yeah, let me pull it up and see. Of course, it may take 15
It'll take an hour to pull it up.
load.
No, that shit is garbage, dude. Freedom
It's
Uh,
horrible.
Brett flew me out on a jet to go to Las Vegas, and
You told us,
lied to
that's
me.
crazy.
All he did was lie, 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 lie. He lost all his credibility. And then because when I got into it and I started looking at these things, I saw that they weren't really what they were saying. And so one of the things with OWE, they're giving us the domestic content, which makes us look really attractive. So they're giving us an additional 25% because we use nothing but American made equipment, which allows us to have a little bit better margins than probably what you're looking at with Freedom. Freedom was supposed to do that. This is how I negotiated this with OWE, is because we went over there for a month and I told them what they were giving us and they wanted to be competitive, and they started giving us the domestic content back.
So will you explain how, like, I guess we're going to be based off a kilowatt hour per month, how that's different from actually leasing it at a fixed rate?
So it's got an estimate. So when you design a proposal, it has an estimate. Like yours produces 26,487 kilowatt hours, which is a little bit oversized, but you're paying the monthly price is going to be dictated by how much energy we anticipate the solar system to produce. But let's say there's at the end of the year, you only produce 24,000 kilowatt hours. All you'll pay for is the 24. So they'll have a true up on there. There could be a possibility that you could produce more and then you'd actually have to pay a little bit more. But even if you're paying a little bit more, that price that you're getting that energy for is about 35% less than where your current market is. So no matter which way you look at it, you're still on the plus side, because when you send this back to the utility grid, you're getting compensated the same kilowatt hour usage rate that they would charge you. They're also paying you back for that same kilowatt hour usage. So it's not like you're going to be losing at that point. So the estimate, the way the PPA contract is designed, is it says, hey, this is your estimated first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. There's a slight degradation over that same period of time. So everybody's bill is going to inherently decrease over those same years based on what the estimated volume of production is. So over that same period of time, let's say the first year's 26,000, next year's 25,500, you're only paying for the 25,500.
Gotcha. So like my bills per month, that's going to fluctuate. Like when we have March, when my AC is not pumping to the
Oh, it's the
heater,
same
or
bill,
it's going to
month
be,
out.
okay. It just averages out for the
Averages
month.
out, and then they look at the end of the year, which will be a true up. So at the end of the year, then they're going to decide, okay, did we overproduce or underproduce? And there'll be a little bit of a true up on there. They're pretty accurate with the assessments of the production. They're pretty accurate about it. So I think at the end of the day, I think the software system is very accurate. So I don't think there's not going to be huge discrepancies on the plus or minus side.
Okay, so say if we have, if your proposal is like 105% offset or whatever, say if it's installed and it's only producing like 70%, what happens there?
You only pay for the 70%. So that's the only margins that you pay for is the 70%. So you're not going to pay for the full. Let's say your bill's $300 a month, and we're only going to be producing, 70% of that. So that means your bill would be 210 versus the 300, right?
If we priced them at 100% or 105%, why would it ever go down to 70%?
It's not. It
It's
won't.
not.
It won't. It's not. There's not going to be huge swings like that. You might be looking at plus or minus 2 to 3%, plus or minus. If you're on the plus side, it's really the advantage. I mean, 3% times the going rate, 11 cents, you're still in a much better position.
Gotcha.
There's not huge swings like that. There's not a 30%
Yeah,
minus.
I was just thinking like worst case scenario.
Ryan, that's like a impossible case scenario.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario would be like 5% minus side, 5% plus side. You don't want either one of those because you don't want a discrepancy in the bill. You don't want the bill going up. You don't want the bill going down. You just want the certainty and predictability that it gives you. But even on a hypothetical that it did go, that we overproduced, you're still in a better position One is you get paid back the same kilowatt hour rate that they'll be charging you. So you're going to get the plus side up there. So it's not like your bill might go up $100 for the year, but if it goes up $100 a year, that all of that energy was exported out to the utility grid, and they're giving you a bigger check back at the end of the year. So you're still on the plus side over there. One thing that that they do for us is that we have to make sure the roof is in good standing. Obviously, you guys are a roofing company. This is the good news for you. If you need to roll a roof into this, if we come to those customers that we don't the customers that don't, the roof isn't going to qualify, then we'd have to do something different. We'd have to throw them in a roof or whatnot. By the way, I've sold 48 roofs this year. Not even intentional about it. Just had to sell 48 roofs this year. So
That's awesome.
I didn't make any money on these roofs, by the way. I didn't make shit. I gave them to cost. Our square, the price I negotiated with the roofer is $350 a square for just the underlayment. So they just pick up the tiles and then they replace the underlayment. A lot of guys out here are charging $500 a square to be able to do that. I'm just a return customer with this guy, so I've negotiated $350 a square.
And you can't roll a new roof into a lease, right?
You could. It's not going to be the same incentive as what you'd have on a loan, because if a loan you'd get 30% back. When I was doing loans, most of my deals always had adders. They had a roof, or they had an AC unit or something like that. But on this equation, you understand it. You could roll a roof into it. You just increase the PPW, right? So, but if they're paying an escalator on this and they're paying this over the next 25 years, it just depends how you look at it. You could frame it in a way where, like, hey, dude, we're not trying to get any money out of pocket. We'll roll this in here. Your bill's going to be a little bit higher, but you're getting a brand new roof out of this.
Right.
So
you just raise the PPA or PPW high enough to where you can just throw it in, basically. Is that what you're saying?
yes.
Okay.
So max PPW, there's
what is the max PPW? Let's see.
Looking at Ryan's, the max PPW goes 389. That's not really high enough. And let me look.
What's Christina's?
Let me look here.
We really need to make money off Christina's job.
Hey, I think your house has got a pretty big roof on the front.
Yeah, bro, you never sent me your bill back.
I'm just renting.
Talk to your landlord.
Yeah.
We'll give you a referral fee.
Nancy Wright will love that.
Christina's max price is $4 a watt.
Oh yeah.
So $4 a watt. Let's just say $4 a watt, and you're looking at, let's see,
So every job's going to be different.
every job's different.
Okay.
If it's perfectly south facing, let me find one that had perfect south facing roof. I just did a mock. I had mock one from. So look at this 1 second here. Let me look at this and see the max. Most of these will be.
Christina, is there any jobs that we've lost on solar that are still alive that we might be able to redo through this system?
There's only one I can think of that was a quality customer. That was that guy that was wanting to buy panels off eBay and install them himself. So I don't know if he's logical.
Yeah,
Dude, give shit.
we'll
Those people are so stupid, man.
He's a quality customer as far as he needs solar. He's got good sun coverage. He can afford it, but I don't know if he's worth trying to go after.
Okay, let's leave that guy alone.
So let me tell you the margins on a perfectly south-facing roof. So I looked at the satellite view. I found a perfectly south-facing roof. Okay. So max price per kilowatt is $4.24. That was your max price, 2.9% escalator. But without a battery, he's still saving $25 a month. You just maxed it out at $4.24 a watt.
Okay.
If we're doing like, and let's see how the size of the system was a 10 kilowatts. So if we're looking now.
And do you have a commission structure that we can steal to use for our sales reps?
Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Okay.
on something like this. $20,640 is the net for this job. $20,640 would be the complete net. And so, if there was a roof in there, I don't know, what are you charging per square for shingles? Non-insurance, or do you do all insurance work?
Mostly.
Mainly insurance. Are you talking about our cost per square or just like
What we
with
charge.
What would you
market?
charge? What would you charge on something to do a roof on a customer that's non-insurance?
I mean, a low cash price, maybe 350 a square.
It's a good deal. You're still pulling profit margins up 350 a square?
I mean, a small margin.
Yeah, that's well, like let me just say, let me just hypothetical. Who gives a shit about the roofing when you can make a little bit on the roofing and then you can make a lot on the
Right.
It's a
Exactly.
win-win. You're winning. It's not, you're not like, this is why I don't give a shit about making money on a roof.
Right.
I just have to, I just want the solar deal. So I'm trying to give them the best deal possible for the roof. And when I do give good.
Right. So we could
It,
actually
it
do
would,
that
it would
almost cost.
probably have to be closer to 400 a square.
Well, I mean, if we're making a shit ton on the solar, we'll give the roof away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you can, and then you guys could structure. I mean, like, let's just say we're just throwing some hypotheticals out there. Roof has to be good. We give customers, OWE gives customers a 25-year roof warranty. Okay. But we won't do the solar if the roof has less than 10 years on the shelf life. So this is a way that you guys could net a roof and a solar deal. And if you choose to charge a lot on the roofing deal, to make it, it's all in the same pot anyway, because the roof goes back to you. Right now, I'm working with a roofer that's not affiliated with me. I'm just giving him all the work, and he's giving me a decent deal on the price per square. So now it's like, I don't give a shit about that. But now you guys are one and the same. If you're getting a roof deal, and this is some hypotheticals, if you come to those customers, the roof doesn't qualify, then you have an option for them, and you could pitch them two ways. One is we can give you a really good deal for cash price for the roof. Number two is we can roll this into the deal, and you still won't have to pay any money out of pocket, and you just pay a little bit more money for your solar. So, and at this one right here, I mean, I maxed this thing out. The guy's average 250, his average bill now is 227, and I maxed it out at 424 a watt.
Christina, have we been we've been doing a few Zooms, Luke, have we been asking their age of their roof? I didn't even think about all that.
I think I usually do, but the
That's
last
critical.
one, the last couple, well, the last one I met in person.
Okay.
But yeah, I usually ask the age.
Good.
So I mean, I talk about this inside the sale, and I say, hey, listen, we're gonna do a roof. They might say the roof's bad, and I'll be like, okay, well, let us do the site survey and see. And if it is bad, we'll know. And here's what this looks like if your roof is bad. This is what this will look like. Okay. Here's the price. Here's the price of your roof. Here's the price if you roll it in here. Here's what your new monthly will be. But let's just see what the site survey says, because I know you're saying it's bad, but let's just see what they say. Now, if they say, we know exactly what we're looking at. So let's start the process today. Send out the site surveyor to make sure that we look at the roof and see what kind of shape it is in. And then if it needs replaced, we know what we're looking at. So that's where it's at. So,
well, we'll be able to tell if it needs a new roof.
Yeah.
But if we're in the office doing a Zoom, we won't, obviously.
No, dude, don't do Zoom. Don't do Zoom meetings.
Okay.
No.
Okay. It doesn't work very well.
No, dude, because that gives them a way to get out. It's going to be
Right.
touch. Listen, I know there's a lot of people making money in that space doing Zoom, but dude, like, it's like a phone call. They can just hang up on you when it gets uncomfortable. The pressure's not as much. You're not assuming the sell. You're not going to transition very well.
Okay.
What I say is what you want to do is you want to have an ability to be able to like really employ all of your tactics and skills to be able to get these people to make a decision to move forward. So this is why I'm going to propose that, looking at these margins and looking at the difference there. So one of the things with the relationship that you guys have with me, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to bring the team out there. Some of the team, and we're going to do a blitz trip. We'll take all the guys that you have to go along with us to watch us set appointments and close deals in home. So in home, close deals. We'll give you the blueprint. And then
Okay.
we're going to rope you guys into our trainings. So we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday and Wednesday we'll set up a camera so that you guys can get some of the training at that spot. And then
Yeah.
the Friday is going to be a Zoom training anyway, so it can be done from anywhere, anytime. And then what we'll do is, in the meantime, till we build this thing out to where it's real, to where we want it, is just keep having guys go out there and do blitz trips, and any guys that you have, and also recruit while we're out there, and then kind of stack your team up
Mhm.
so that
Mhm.
we have a little bit more presence there.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. I think this would be the most effective means to help really launch this thing and get this to where we want to be, based on the volume we can do. And I don't know, looking at the reports and looking at the margins, dude, like I feel like everybody in Arizona should go solar. But in Tyler, Texas, if you don't go solar, you're an absolute idiot. Like,
Hmm.
you are an absolute idiot. You're even dumber than the people in Arizona not going solar, because of the margins and how much you save and all of the, you got to understand too. Like, let me just tell you too, we've got maybe 18 months left to go for solar in where it's currently at today. And where it's currently at today is getting that domestic content, dude. Like these reports I'm looking at right now, because we're getting the domestic content. If we weren't achieving that, dude, I wouldn't been able to save you guys money. That's why, Christina, you're running all these reports and look like shit, because Freedom is not giving you the domestic content. That's a lot of money, and it drops the customer's price, and it raises our PPW. So now it looks very, very credible. How long the domestic content is going to last? It might last the full 18 months, might last 6, 7, 8 months. Who knows? We'll ride it till the wheels fall off, and then once it changes, we'll transition and be able to do something. But that's what I propose. I mean, if a partnership like this want to see you guys be successful and want to help you guys really be able to launch this thing, the best way to be us coming out there and doing a blitz trip out there and then coming on in waves. I don't like to leave my house, dude. I love Arizona, love staying here. I do not like to leave. Traveling's not my thing, but I'll go over there to be able to help launch this thing to get us to where we need to be. And by the way, if you get a lead, dude, we're going to create some people that can go run that lead in the home. If you don't want to do that, let's create some people that can go run these appointments in the home.
She really don't have time. I've got her doing so much other stuff that we need to.
That's why the main important part is Ryan, if you're gonna be doing the roofs, and I'm not gonna try and destroy the bread and butter. If roofs,
Right.
then we keep the roof division. But if the roofers have a lead they want to give us, and then make a little margins on that, and then everybody makes some margins on that, or if some of the roofers want to double over and then be able to come to some of these closes. Listen, I think if someone's trained in a solar close, like, you can sell anything, anywhere, anytime. Like, I'm fully convinced of that because of all the tactics and skills and stuff that you have to implement inside of a solar cell, whether you're knocking doors or at the kitchen table. I think everybody can learn from something inside of that space.
Okay.
So my plan was to be able to really come out there, be able to do a blitz trip, have my guys come out there. I'll come out for 4 or 5 days, be able to take as many people as I can, train them up, and then be able to give them the bandwidth and stuff to be able to do it. But also, in the same aspect, be able to really recruit this thing and build your team out so that you have a substantial amount of guys in there as well.
That sounds good.
You good with that?
So roofing is pretty seasonal. We don't do a whole lot in the winter. How does it look on the solar side?
I love winter. It's cooler here in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly.
My biggest month last year was in October. I sold 58 solar accounts.
Damn.
Which, by the way, in a month, that's what guys do annually, and I sold it in a month. We did I think 1.4 megawatts in the month of October. So October, November, December slows down a little bit, only because guys are taking time off. It's not because people don't want solar. People still want solar during that time, but you got the holidays. And then January, we pick it right up where we started. We don't take a lot of time off in January. We're just we'll full throttle.
Okay.
By the time summer comes around, though, summer's usually going to be one of the better months because people are experiencing the pain of the high utility bills, especially if they're not on the average bill. They start getting hit with these huge bills, right? And then they have a little bit more pain, especially if the utility companies increase the rates or whatnot. Then they're in a little bit more need and desire to be able to have some relief to that pain. Let's have a solution.
Cool. So year round, basically, we're good.
Yeah, there's no seasonal shit for us. I mean, then we got bit. This summer wasn't that great. It was hot as shit out here, dude. It's harder summer when we should be getting more deals, but it's 110, 115 degrees, dude. Guys are struggling to go out and knock, right? So it's been a little bit our summer we've dipped in numbers in comparison to what we were doing in April, May, and June.
Right. That makes sense.
I've got a few more questions for you.
Yep.
So say you have the PPA system, 3 years down the road, you need to get your roof replaced. What does that look like?
Removal and replacement, but wherever they're putting the solar system, you're not going to have to replace that part of the roof. Like we guarantee and warranty that part. So if you had issues with that part of the roof, we're actually the ones that are on the hook and responsible for it. So we would be the ones responsible for it. So there's not going to be leaks or anything like that in 3 or 4 years down the road. It would have to be a substantial period.
Right.
And
I'm
we're
just
not
thinking
gonna-
like, I'm thinking if a hailstorm hits, say if you have the back slope covered up, insurance covers the entire roof to detach and reset the solar panels. Would like Light be responsible for that, or how does that work?
Light Reach would be OWE would probably do the detach and reset. But if I forget, you guys got weird. This is why you're in the insurance roofing business. I never considered this. I forgot you guys get weird storms out there. We don't get any of that shit here ever.
Right. Yeah.
Mm,
You can
yeah,
have
we did,
baseballs, you know,
The insurance
raining or something.
the insurance company would obviously cover the detach, reset, and then they'll be able to reinstall the new roof. Maybe that's why people don't have solar. I bet you that's why people don't have solar out there, because the freaking hailstorms, bro. They're worried about it. Acts of God would cover the solar system, but by the way, you'd have to have like bowling ball size hail to be able to destroy these solar panels. But let's just say a hypothetical. Let's say that happens, though, right? Let's say that okay, the roof's destroyed, maybe some of the panels got destroyed. We're responsible for the system, including acts of God, for the next 25 years. So we'd replace any of the panels. The detach reset, if you roll that into the insurance, they'll pull the panels off and let you redo the roof and then put the panels back on. That would usually be covered by the insurance company at that point anyways.
Yep.
We do a guaranteed roof replacement for 25 years. This is underneath it. So if the solar panels have protected the roof, and there's like parts of the shingles and stuff that do have some that need to be replaced, that would have to be. I'm sure we'd still be able to get that rolled in with the insurance company.
Yeah, that'd be the insurance.
We did probably a dozen, 10 to 12 detach and resets last year with our roofs that we had. Out of those, there were a handful that had cracked panels, and insurance did pay for them. It was a very hard fight for us to get insurance to match the detach and reset cost on some of them. But it's a little different when you have somebody that's locked into a contract that company has to do it. We were fighting a lot of companies that had gone out of business, and so the homeowners didn't have that contract. But we did see them cover cracked panels and then cover the detach and reset.
I would probably get the panels are warranted, including force majeure, which is the acts of God. It's written in the agreement. If the panels were destroyed, you'd just be able to get the panels replaced from Light Reach, right? The detach and reset, you could probably get the insurance company to pay for the detach and reset. The panels would be actually replaced rather than fighting with the insurance company on replacing the panels. What we'd just be able to do is Light Reach would see this because they're constantly monitoring this. So let's just say they see a dip in production, they can see which panel you can see every panel specifically. Then Light Reach would pay for the solar panels and the detach and reset. I'm sure we could negotiate that with Light Reach as well. It is set in there, but it wasn't in the case of like hailstorms or whatnot, having to replace the roof and then have to do something like that either.
What happens if Light Reach goes out of business?
Best case scenario for our customers. This would be best case scenario for them and a PPA. By default, you're going to own a 50, 60 solar system. This is best case scenario.
Really?
Alone, you're screwed, bro. But this particular model, I tell everybody has a question like that. Every single customer say, listen, what happens if you guys go out of business? I'm like, hey, This would be your best case scenario. If we went out of business, we can no longer service the account. We're no longer pulling money from your account. And there's no UCC filing. There's no lien on the house with the light reach agreement, which means that if someone stopped paying their bill, we can't even come take the solar panels back. So in the agreement, it states we will not prohibit the sale, refinance, or refinancing of the home. So there's nothing out. There's no lien. There's not a UCC loan that's on the property. But if a hypothetical, we did go out of business. So what I tell customers, like, listen, best case scenario, your system cash value is going to be about $55,000. But what I want to tell you though, that $55,000, you would by default you'd own it. So if we're in business and you pay the new utility bill for 5 years, after that's over, like the position you're in is by default you own it. You no longer have a utility bill, and by default you own the solar system. This would be your best case scenario. Doesn't work like that with loans. Loans, people get screwed. A lot of companies have gone out of business. LightReach is in a really good position though. LightReach is kind of the forefront runner for any lease or PPA agreements. They've really positioned themselves into have a lot more financial funding. They've couple times they had to renew their funding, but they're in a really good position. In fact, most other PPA companies or leasing companies have been out of business. There's Enfin, which I'm sure, Christina, we're using Enfin.
Yes.
Okay, Enfin, they're in a solid position because they're integrated with the manufacturer of the solar panels. So they're the manufacturer of Hanwha Q cell, which is the most widely used solar panel in the United States right now. They're in a good position like that as well. We do have an Enfin PPA. It is trash. It is absolute trash, which probably looks a lot like what you've been looking at for when you're running reports. This is why they've never looked good, because the same price per kilowatt that you would charge to your customer, which on LightReach would equal out to a $3 PPW, probably is like a 2.1, maybe a 2, maybe even not even a 2.2 with Enfin, the Enfin PPA. So that could be another discrepancy. This is why I told you guys, when companies like Freedom are offering red lines, they're just smoke and mirrors. They're full of shit because it never looks like that. They're full of shit. It's just garbage. So, oh yeah, we're going to give you this red line, dude. You're going to be in such a good position. But then, and I don't know if you sold a deal with Freedom, but then if you compare across the board, in comparison like LightReach or any other company, and you look at theirs, although they're saying they're going to give you in Arizona, the Enfin PPAs or leases they were giving us a 1.1 red line. That's what they said. 1.1 in Arizona. But at the end of the day, that 1.1 was essentially like a 2.9. It was not a 1.1. It was a 2.9. And then if you sell a job with these guys, if you look at the adders, dude, you get hammered with adder after adder. It was insane. So at the end of the day, all of these jobs we were selling, we owed money for them installing the jobs. Like it was no longer profit for us, as we owed them. So never turned out the way it was going to be. But Ryan, does that answer your question about what happens if we go out of business?
Yeah, I mean, so basically you own the panels. I mean,
you own the panels without a tail. So now you get out of now you're going to be able to get out of that your monthly service fee. So by the way, the LightReach, so people that want to own it, so you're going to get some people, I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to own it. Well, first, there's a way that we overcome this, because the people are going to say that. Had 2 people this week that told me that, and they still went with a lease. In fact, I go to someone's house and they're adamant about owning the solar system, not doing a lease, and they end up going to a lease because of the way that I explain it. But at the end of the day, you're at your 5th year anniversary with LightReach, you can buy out of the remaining agreement. One, you could just prepay all the rest of the months, which is be garbage. But number 2 is you can have an outside arbitrator that's not affiliated with us, not affiliated with the customer, that will come out there and give them fair market value for the solar system. Now, there's a lot of ambiguity with that. So like people are going to ask, well, what's the price? We don't know. Could be good, could be bad, who knows? But you'll have an option every year after your 5th year anniversary. You could buy out of this thing. So for someone that wants to own it, and by the way, if you buy out of it in 5 years, you still have 20 years worth of warranties. You bought out of it. So for those people that really insist on being able to own it, that's the way to do it. There's a different way that we overcome that objection, but if they're really insistent on this, this gives them the blueprint to be able to have ownership and stuff at the end of that 5 years too.
Ryan, did you have any other questions? I've got to hop off.
Yeah. Is it difficult to transfer the PPA if you sell?
No, let us know 15 days in advance. The customer would have to qualify with a 650 credit score. If they don't meet that, they pay a $250 deposit. They can transfer it to the they can transfer it in their name.
Nice.
That customer's not doing anything except giving us their new name. The person that's buying the home 15 days in advance, it will make it happen.
Okay.
Christina, do you have any questions?
Nope, I don't have any
for
questions.
now? Good stuff.
Okay, so Jay, you good with the strategy?
Yep.
What I told you? Okay,
Love it.
I'll send you something over. We'll be in contact today.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Luke.
You're welcome,
All
Christina.
right. Yeah,
Bye.
thank you.